that's good. I should have known who sang this. What's poppin', Farm for Profit? On today's Farm for Fun show, we head south to meet up with a first-generation farmer that's been blazing his trail as a young farmer himself. From a dream to a full operational farm to consumer popcorn business with over 138,000 followers on TikTok, 21,000 followers on Instagram, and almost 8,000 on Twitter. I didn't look up YouTube. That's my problem. From Missouri, please welcome Mr. Gavin Spoor, the popcorn farmer.
Right. This had to be done right now because his phone, where he just read those notes from, is on death battery.
7%. So I got 10 minutes.
You're good.
Yeah.
Go to battery save mode.
And we can't forget the lovely
the girlfriend.
Got the air horns.
The girlfriend.
We are back.
I don't know. I kind of want to just let this playing in the background.
Can still. I mean,
put it on repeat.
I mean, it's not going to work on YouTube anymore. Copyrighted music.
Requested.
It's a good song.
Just like that picture for the Mets that has Tommy trumpets.
Oh, yeah. Yep. What is up, guys? We've been sitting here already for an hour. We already did Grace's show. Now it's time to talk about Gavin.
Part 2. If you missed Grace's show, you're going to have to go back a couple of weeks.
Yep.
And pick hers up.
Yeah. So, Gavin, welcome to the show. You are center of attention now.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Center of attention. I don't
Is
know.
he really, though?
I don't know if he can handle that. This is just Grace Part 2.
Grace Part 2.
Part 2.
So I gave a little background. We didn't get too deep into what you do. I know you've been blowing up a lot of popcorn stuff on social media lately.
Popping up everywhere.
Yeah, popping up everywhere. So I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with you, but give us a background.
Yep. So I'm Gavin Spoor, like you said in the intro, first-generation farmer from east central Missouri or northeast Missouri, depending on who you ask, growing corn, soybeans, and some winter wheat and popcorn. Started from nothing in 2017 and been really blessed the past couple of years to grow to where I'm at now.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where here is, but we're somewhere.
That should have been the intro song.
I don't know why I didn't put this together during the first recording, but is this like the oldest sibling marrying a younger sibling? Like the youngest of a family? You have a first gen? Oh, yeah. It's statistically, or it is a statistic that older siblings are drawn to younger siblings when seeking out marital partners.
Why?
I don't know. Are you an older? You're not.
I'm middle.
You're middle, and your wife is?
Middle.
See? Exactly.
I'm the third of 4.
So you're one of the younger.
Right.
I'm one of the older.
Right. Yeah. But he's first gen and you're 8th gen as far as farming goes.
So
Yeah.
the same principle applies.
That was the loose tie. Yeah, it took a long time for me to get there.
It's okay. We'll work on delivery next episode.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd
we're
be better
gonna be
at
here all
jokes.
night.
My wife's the youngest. I'm the oldest, just so you know.
Okay, that's what you're trying to get to.
No, I was getting to the 8th gen, first gen, but I was leaving my part out, but now I got to wrap it all in together.
Gotcha.
So where at in Missouri?
You just said.
Grew up in
I know.
hometown, I guess you'd say, is Martinsburg. I'm transplanted 6 miles north to where I live now.
How many people know where? How many people know where Ladonia is?
Not many. There's
Right.
300, roughly. Martinsburg's got 320 something.
Right. Closest metropolis for those not around there.
Columbia, the University of Missouri.
Okay.
It's an hour west. The town most people would know is St. Louis Arch. It's an hour and a half to the east.
Okay.
You can find me St. Louis.
That's all you want.
I'm ready to bump.
You want me to DJ the whole show?
no.
I'll just give you the plug. We'll plug you in.
Yeah.
And do the entire show.
You'd have to do the intro then, and then that would not be.
So down there, we are corn and soybeans.
Mm-hmm. Mainly corn and soybeans. There's
Okay.
quite a bit of winter wheat. Winter wheat and soybeans seem to be just as profitable, if not more, than corn and soybeans.
Really?
Winter wheat grows really well. We can raise some amazing beans. Corn is just kind of unless you've got really top dollar dirt and irrigation.
Right.
I mean, we can grow good corn.
Sure.
But from a profitability standpoint, beans and wheat on the more marginal ground pay way better.
So are you talking wheat and then beans?
Yeah.
in
So
the
you'd
same
have
year.
like a full season bean, plant winter wheat, and then the next year double crop beans. So you'd get a wheat crop and 2 bean crops in a 12-month calendar year, basically.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Nice. So you do plant wheat yourself?
Yeah, I've got about 200 acres out this. Well, yeah, it's growing right now.
Yeah.
Looking good.
I guess I'm not an expert at wheat by any means, but
Well, you're in Omaha right now, so
yeah, it looked good when I left.
and you've been spending a lot of time in Kentucky. It sounds like maybe. You know?
Yeah.
Like he said, it looked good when he left.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
Oh, that's pretty good. So first generation farmer, why farming?
I grew up in a rural area. My grandpa farmed, but he passed away in 1977. So, and Dad works a factory job, Mom's a nurse. I have no connection with farming, had no like special in other than we grew up in the country, and from the age of 3 or 4, when a tractor went by, I was all about it. I would run to the kitchen window, and then when it went past the house, I'd run to the dining room window because a huge loud machine blowing black smoke, playing in the dirt. What more does a little kid enjoy?
Yeah.
Especially when you live in the country. And Mom and Dad fed into that. I would always get toy tractors for Christmas. That's what I was into. Some people like action heroes. Some people like monster trucks. I just really like tractors and farming. And as I got older, I'd start tagging along. So I have all these farmer buddies. You know, older guys are basically my superheroes. I'd go ride with them after school. And there's 4 or 5 of them. And none of them farm a whole lot. You know, a couple hundred acres, 1,000 acres or so might farm with a brother. So I just thought everyone in the country had a old case combine and a 6-row planter, and they farmed a couple hundred acres and had a little bit of livestock. And that's all I wanted to do from a really young age. And I got older and started working for guys when I got my license, but then realized farming's pretty dang expensive, and I didn't think I could start from nothing, so I went off to college, and now we're here.
So you did the college thing?
Yes.
All the way through?
So, if anyone asks, my cop-out answer is, yeah, I'm a 4-year college student. COVID hit my last semester, my senior semester, and I didn't know COVID was going to hit. I was tryhard. So I signed up for like some graduate level classes, like linear program, like some top dog stuff. That was dumb. I could have taken easy classes, but I wanted to try. I was paying for the classes. Might as well make them challenging. COVID hit. My farm went from 200 acres to 600 acres overnight, and some other things that had happened. So I was now at home on the farm trying to figure out how I was going to farm triple the acres that year, and online classes were not working. I basically shut my laptop and went to the field. So I'm a couple classes away from graduation. I'm almost there.
Sure.
But haven't finished yet, and probably won't because now I'm self-employed and I don't really need the degree. I've got the 4 years of networking and making connections. That was more valuable than the classes themselves.
Did I black out? When did you get the 200 acres?
We didn't get to that part yet.
Oh, I guess I skipped.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. When did you start farming yourself?
So I should have skipped that. Got the chance to start farming my freshman year of college. I was working for a guy at the time who farmed about 1,500, still does. But I rented 6 acres, a little bitty patch, trees on 3 sides. And as part of my wages, I got to use his planter and combine.
Yep.
So we did that 6 acres with his equipment. The next year, I bought an old ragged out 1066 Farmall and a 6-row planter. And I picked up 40 acres coming out of CRP and another 40 acres off a Craigslist ad. So I was almost off of Craigslist. So I was almost, close to 100 acres, touching on it, and had 15 acres of popcorn that year. So mostly still corn and soybeans, but 15 acres of popcorn. And the year after that, picked up a few more other patches. And then the big jump came when I rented some state ground. So it's owned by the state of Missouri. It's conservation ground.
Okay.
Tons of patches, but a lot of acres. And that's where the big jump came, and that was right as I was leaving college. So I was in college, farming 200 acres, thinking I'm going to have to get a big boy job. And then that happened. I was like, oh, I can try this full-time for a year. And if it doesn't work out, I can still go get a full-time job. But let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
And went from that 600 acres to close to 1,000, and then I've picked up a few more since then. So it's steadily grown. But I just keep an eye out for any opportunity that presents itself.
And is that the key? Because we get email requests
All the time.
all the time.
And they're mostly from me.
Yeah, Corey just picks up different emails to send to.
How do these people do this?
How do we get more farm ground? How do I get more farm ground? And it's not a bad question. We're not discrediting the questions that people send to us.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most frequently asked. And we've done farm for profit shows to where we bring in investor groups. We bring in discussions about different lease types. But for you, what do you attribute? Is it just tenacity of looking around? How close is your farm? Are you?
So I'm very spread out
Okay.
north to south, like a lot, and that's one disadvantage I have. But I've gotten really good at taking the table scraps that the big guys overlook. So I'm a patch farmer. I've got a lot of small fields. I'm slowly getting some decent bigger farms. It just takes time.
Mm-hmm.
But no farm I've picked up there's no cookie cutter approach to it. I mean, Craigslist ad, Facebook post. I made a Facebook post. I've never stolen a piece of ground or knocked on a door and offered, hey, I'll give you $100 more than this guy. I don't want to do that. Or I won't do that. There was a farm I got rented. I sent a guy a letter because I knew the farmer was coming like 100 miles. Sure. I knew the landowner. He lives in St. Louis. There's a lot of guys that live in the city, but they come out and deer hunt.
Yeah.
So they've got these investment properties. And I didn't know who he was, but I was able to look on the online plat book and get his address. I just sent him a letter. I said, hey, I'm a young guy, a couple miles from your farm. Looks like you've got a great guy on the farm. I don't want anything to do with it, but I just want to give you my name.
Right.
If something ever happens down the road, would love a shot. He could have never messaged me back or anything. But it just so happened that following year, the dude that was farming it cut way back on acres. And so he went back closer to home. And this guy, he didn't know anyone in the area. He knew no farmers. He was just coming to deer hunt. But he remembered this young kid who sent him a letter and was polite and just said, hey, I want a chance. Been farming it ever since. That's one of the farms I've had the longest.
All right, brush off your pen and get your stamps out, Corey.
I mean, God bless the people like that, though. Like, because that guy could have easily put it up for bids for the highest to the biggest farmer and all that. And, like, the people that can still appreciate that and give a guy a chance, it's my heart right there.
So your advice to the young listener, your age, that is asking this question is be creative?
Get creative with it. I mean, really, you tell me how many people you want to piss off, and I'll tell you how much ground you can get rented. Because if you want to go rent a bunch of ground, you can go do it. I just choose to kind of take it as it comes to me. And, I mean, you got to go look for it or put yourself out there. But I've never been one to try to steal anything. But, yeah, don't be afraid to send that letter. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything to introduce yourself or go shake the hand of the landowner. Yeah. Don't just start a conversation with him because you want his ground when he dies or his mom dies or whatever. Right. But he's not going to know you exist if you don't go talk to him.
That's fair.
Have you ever got any pushback from your Facebook ads?
No, I haven't. No.
I feel like I've seen you ask more than I've seen a lot of people. Like, you are very open with the questions you ask on social media.
Yeah, I love social media. Just I don't have a dad or grandpa to ask these questions to. So it's a couple local guys or the plethora of farm guys that I follow on Twitter and Instagram or wherever.
I mean, you ask anything from, does anybody know anything about a Great Plains Triple Tail? Or, like you're asking, does anybody have any land to rent? I mean, you will put it out there.
What color should Grace's hair be next week?
That's right. That's right. We're going farm for profit blue.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess I've never gotten any pushback. I've never felt any animosity towards me, which I'm so blessed for that. But there's a couple rotten eggs, or some guy who got kicked off a farm who thinks I took the farm. Everyone knows the situation. Those things that's going to happen as you pick up ground. Sure. Those sorts of things will happen. But everyone's been very open to it, and with the popcorn operation. I mean, the community's like really rallied around me. Like now it's in the high school concession stands. The local Chevy dealer has it in the waiting area for his customers who are waiting on their vehicle. Like, it's really neat to see how much it's taken off.
So do you guys have, in our area we have a Tyson's, which would be like a Baumgars, would be like
it's a farm store.
A farm, a rural
like
king.
an Orscheln's type.
An Orscheln's, yeah. Does Orscheln's pop popcorn?
No, I mean my local one doesn't. I'm not in any stores like that yet. Yeah, they should.
Yeah,
it's a good
they
idea.
always have fresh
Need
popcorn.
to send them a letter.
You should.
It's good.
Because, that's half the reason I go into Tyson's. It's spelled like Thesons, but I go into Tyson's.
That's what my grandpa always said, Thesons.
Yeah.
I'm like,
No, but it's always, you can smell it walking in the door. There's the popcorn smell, which COVID sucked.
do you go there every time?
Right.
Do you go to the popcorn? Because I found myself the last couple times like go in there and like someone else is like digging in there. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. That guy's hand was in there, like.
I pretty much go every time,
Yeah, you're that guy.
But I'm a
like,
popcorn guy. I want to know where the popcorn started.
Okay, so great question. The popcorn started that second year I farmed. I had like 100 acres. I was a sophomore in college. I knew I was going to have to, if I didn't have that many acres and I wanted to farm full time, I had to find something I could grow that could make a lot of money. Yeah. And, marijuana is frowned upon. That's a joke. I wouldn't grow that.
Kind of legal.
Kind of legal now.
Yeah.
I got a Snapchat from Zach Hasse, if that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
I got a Snapchat. He was driving by the farm he described on our episode.
Oh.
That was like 6 square miles. It's just lit up at night.
Yeah.
It's a fenced-in marijuana
No
farm.
kidding.
6 square
Colorado.
miles.
Huh. That's wild.
Yeah, it was very wild. That's exactly what I said back to him.
So I had to think of a high-value crop. And I was a full-time college student, so vegetables weren't going to work. Sweet corn wouldn't work. It's only good for, the week after you pick it. Popcorn, I could grow all year. I could throw in bags, and I could sell it for the next 12 months, and it was not going to go bad. Very shelf-stable. So that's what I did. Had no clue what I was doing. Planted 15 acres.
Holy smokes.
And I thought, well, this is either going to go really, really good or really, really bad.
That's a ton of popcorn.
Tons of popcorn.
Yeah.
Not just 1 ton. Lots of them.
It's a ton of popcorn.
I think I ended up with 32 pallets of 50-pound bags that first year. I think that's right. I have to go back and look.
Did
It's
you get rid of all of it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Trying to run
I
the
got rid
yields
of
in
the
my head.
first year's crop. The second year I grew it, I doubled how much I grew. Or second or third year. The year COVID hit, I doubled how much I grew and then ended up taking half of it to the ethanol plant because all the kettle corn companies that I had developed a market with, they could no longer pop at county fairs. They couldn't set up at Casey's. There was no market for that. So my online sales increased because everyone got sent home from work and they were watching Netflix and eating popcorn all day, but they're buying 2 pounds at a time. These kettle corn guys were buying hundreds of pounds at a time. So I just had a lot of leftover stock. I didn't want to carry it into the next year because my goal is to always sell the freshest stock. So it went to the ethanol plant.
Yeah.
So the ethanol plant just takes that as number 2 corn or what?
Well, when you take a semi-load and dilute it in a 500,000 bushel bin,
Okay.
it's not that big a deal. But I did take them a 5-gallon bucket and they ran the sample to make sure it would all feed through. But in 2012, there was an awful drought.
Yeah.
They took a bunch of Milo that year and they turned Milo into ethanol. So
Really?
Yep. You can put more than just corn through that machine.
So I've got a little heartstrings tugging when you talk popcorn because I grew up growing popcorn. Oh, I
told you.
Very nice.
Because I grew up growing popcorn. Mm-hmm. I grew up way back in my childhood with sweet corn. And Grandpa had an old Chevy single cab pickup, and he built a topper for it that was just 2x4s and aluminum siding that you'd prop up so you'd have shade, and he'd park that at the co-op, and everybody knew that they could come in there and get Winterhoff sweet corn. And I'd sit up there, and my sisters would sit up there, and my mom and dad would sit up there. You'd just hang out, everybody'd pull up, and you'd get sweet corn. So we'd have a half acre, sometimes an acre of sweet corn.
Yeah.
Nothing big, but enough to sell for a couple of weeks during the summer.
Right.
And then as we were getting a little bit older, Dad started planting 3 rows of popcorn next to the sweet corn patch. And that became a fundraiser for me as a kid. So we'd pick it, we'd let it air dry on the cob, we'd shell it, and Mom would, bless her heart, clean out peanut butter jars all year long and ask neighbors and church people for their peanut butter jars, clean out their peanut butter jars. And we made little labels, and we just clear packaging tape. But I would sell that as a fundraiser as a kid for our Branson vacation money or wherever we were going. And we would sell Winterhoff popcorn.
That's awesome.
And ever since then, we've always grown popcorn. Dad always has. And now that we're older and all of us have left the house and have our own little families, we go back. And I didn't get to help pick it this year. And this is the first year we shelled it off the farm. Dad actually brought all the popcorn down to our house, which is about 2.5 hours away from the farm, with the sheller, because we got a hand crank sheller, and we shelled it in my driveway this year.
So you still have the same 3 rows?
So I think it's mostly been 3 rows. I think the most we ever got to was 6 rows of it. But yeah, it's just
That's awesome.
a couple 100 yards long, 3 rows.
Yeah.
It's enough popcorn for us. I think we shelled this year probably about 8 or 9 5-gallon buckets worth.
Last you guys a while.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got Dad. I mean, that's Dad's snack. He's got chocolates next to his recliner, and he always has a big old bowl of popcorn. You do that amongst me and my 2 siblings, and then he gives some away to the church people, and all that kind of stuff. But what I didn't realize, which is where I think I want to head with your conversation next, is I made a TikTok about us shelling it in my driveway, and the number of people that responded asking if they can buy it, I was like, oh crap. Like, that wasn't the intent. Like, we don't have a mechanism to do that.
Right.
But how did you start selling? How did you find your customers? You talked about the kettle corn people, but now you're doing more than just bulk retail.
Yeah.
You've got an e-commerce business.
Yep. So that it's a skill I have of finding people that are good at things I'm not good at. And I don't know how to build a website. But I had a friend at college who was really good at building websites. I thought, he can make some money. I don't have to learn how to build this website. I'll have him build it. And he still manages it. I was texting him the past couple days because we're adding new products to the website. He still manages it. But he built this website. He set everything up. All I do is hop on and print off the shipping label. And then on the back of the shipping label, I write what was ordered, and we take it out to the warehouse and throw it in a box, slap the label on, and take it to the post office.
Wow.
So he really took the bull by the horns and built the website. Getting into grocery stores, I just started walking into grocery stores after class for the day. If I got done around lunchtime, I would just go to grocery stores. I'd walk in, I'd find the nearest cashier and say, hey, I need to talk to your manager. And normally they'd be like, what'd I do?
Right.
Well, what happened? I'd be like, no, I've got a product. And I did this before I ever had a product to sell. And I'd introduce myself to the manager and say, I have a product. It will be available towards winter. What does it take to sell it in your store? Like, what do you need from me so I can get this on the shelf? They told me I needed tamper-proof packaging. I needed the UPC code on the back, nutrition facts, all of this, and the margins that they would want. I thought, okay, so I'd go back to the drawing board. I'd start looking up packaging, or I'd crunch my numbers to figure out how much I could sell it to them for,
right.
And they could turn around and sell it, and it still be, in the market. And I did all that before I had a product to sell. So that winter, had it in the bag or in the jar, and I walked back in the store.
Literally had it in the bag.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, let's go. And I got into a Hy-Vee in the town I went to college in. I ended up getting into like a dozen stores, and I pivoted away from the stores here recently. I still keep a couple stocked up, but it takes so much gas money. If they call and want a dozen bags, it's not profitable. So I like being on the shelf, but it's not profitable to run that way. So now I mostly focus on the e-commerce or the bulk kettle corn guys.
Yeah. If you do the grocery store, you almost have to go to like Hy-Vee. Do you have Hy-Vees in the area at all?
I do. So I'm in one Hy-Vee.
They have like a distribution where you just ship to one spot and they distribute for you.
So as we're on track to keep expanding this. If it goes to plan, I need to get hooked up with some distribution centers, and they just come to the farm and pick it up instead of me delivering to them.
Or if you delivered it to one spot.
Right.
And
yeah. Take a whole bunch to
then
one
they
spot.
dispersed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Grace, before you met Gavin, did you eat a lot of popcorn?
Actually, yeah.
Did you have a favorite kind of popcorn?
Not really. As long as it had a lot of butter on it, I was good.
So is his any good?
It's delicious.
Oh. Would you have expected her to say anything else?
No.
No, but it really is though. Like the microwave bags.
Is it different kind of popcorn? Like I know I've seen a TikTok of yours. Like sometimes you want the caramel corn ones that are like the big ones, and then you have
your big flaky ones
butterfly
are called butterfly.
Yeah.
So your butterfly's real flaky. That's what the movie theaters want because it pops huge expansion rate.
Yeah. I made my dad send me a picture of the bag that we use. So we're robust 128. It doesn't tell me if it's big, flaky. So that's a popcorn that we've been planting the last couple of years. So is it a Pioneer? What do you?
I can tell by looking at the.
No, but for you, are you planting?
I plant a couple different hybrids.
Okay, so you vary it.
Yeah, well, see, and that's because the grocery store is getting a totally different popcorn than the kettle corn company. So when it comes to yellow popcorn, there's tons of different hybrid numbers, but there's your butterfly and your mushroom.
There you go.
And your butterfly pops big and flaky and fills up that bag quicker. That's what most people are used to.
You want to sell air.
But your kettle corn companies want mushroom. And mushroom, it's just in the way it pops. It looks like a brain almost. It's a perfect round
It's like
ball.
a ball of
Yes.
popcorn.
So kettle corn companies want that perfect round ball. It holds that coating better, holds the caramel, holds the flavoring. So I have to keep those segregated. And I could plant them beside each other, but I can't store them together.
Yeah.
Because I have to keep them separate, through the whole growing process, bagging everything. And so the bags are labeled different, and I guess we just sort it out as we sell it.
Yep.
Pull it off one pallet or another.
Gotcha.
But then there's different colors too, blue, red. I mean, if Grace had the hair colored, there's a popcorn that color. There's black. There's
See,
white.
from the very beginning,
That's
I was
your
trying to
marketing.
look like popcorn because I knew he liked popcorn. That's what it was.
You knew how
That's
to
all it
get
was.
straight to his heart.
You need to start doing the like the big gift tins. You ever seen those? So I sell for Hogemeyer Seed. They're out of Nebraska, so
I
they're
love the cheddar.
they're
popcorn.
west of 35. But yeah, they get the tri little container in there, and it's cheddar, caramel, and then regular. And that
Every
cheddar,
once in a while, you end up with the ones that are all. It's just all regular popcorn, but it's green, red, and
oh
white.
yeah. But the cheddar and the caramel mixed together.
Uh-huh.
It's interesting you bring that up. That's one thing I've never even contemplated doing.
Yeah.
Because I like growing it so much and working with kettle corn companies. I don't want to get into popping it.
Yeah.
I like growing it and selling the kernels. But if I start popping it, I'm in direct competition with the people I'm selling to.
Right.
That's true.
I
It's like
wonder
Suka.
if he and is it Oli that makes the caramels?
Oh yeah.
I wonder if he and Oli could get together. And what's his last name? Krustad?
Yeah. It's
Anyway, he makes caramels. You ever run into him at a trade show and he brings his homemade caramels? I just saw he was working on another batch, but he makes his homemade caramel.
He might be here.
It would be kind of interesting. Maybe if we can get the two of you
Get
hooked
together
up,
and
you could
Caramels.
get
Caramels
you
are
bring
good.
popcorn.
He was at a
Farm Progress
Farm
show.
Progress show, and he was kind of handing
Yep.
out caramels and stuff. Yeah.
Ooh, that might be a match made in heaven. Typically, this time in the episodes when we stop for a drink break and do something interesting. But we don't know when this show's going to come out, so we don't have anything else except for some cold Busch Light. So thanks
Out of
again.
the bottle still.
Busch Light, the official beer.
Are you ready for the ASMR?
Yes. We're gonna. Oh, there's a. I got
You
enough.
couldn't hear
I can-
anything.
Nope, I can amplify that. There's still enough
That's
here.
me laughing.
Here, I'll
There's-
pretend.
There's
That's me laughing.
I'll
Bloop,
pretend.
bloop, 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 bloop.
You want to hear Farmer Grace just slurp on the Busch Light.
Hold on, I can't get it to work.
Can you imagine?
Hold on, let me
Hey
try again.
girl, I heard you drinking that Busch Light.
I was gonna say, can you imagine the DM she's gonna get now? Oh, that's funny. That part I'll cut out if she can't drink a beer. We'll cut. She's not gonna make it. So yes, thank you to Busch Light for being the official beer of the Farm for Profit podcast.
Yeah.
Are you gonna make it?
No, I'm going to need Busch
She's
Light to
dying.
pay my hospital bills.
All right, so we talked popcorn. We talked.
Hold on, I'm still talking.
Oh, you're still popping popcorn?
Okay. I want to know. Okay, because I grow corn, I grow beans, and I've seen popcorn in the field. You know, I've grown that purple corn and stuff. It's kind of similar and all that. I want to know from the field to the bag or to the grocery store, what's
Good
different than number 2 corn?
Yeah, so the growing process is almost identical in the field. It's like you said, after the field, it all changes. So it comes out of the field late September, early October, goes in the grain bin, condition it the same, blow air through it all winter, make sure the moisture's right. In February, we will grain vac it out of that bin, goes on a semi, heads to the cleaning facility. Cleaning facility will run it through a gravity table, grain cleaner, and then it will color sort it, optical eye color sorter. And where I get it clean, I mean, I don't know how many millions of dollars they have wrapped up into this equipment, but it is amazing. They can take a semi-load of dirty grain, and an hour and a half later, it is cleaned, put on a pallet, a robot stacked it on a pallet, it's cellophane wrapped and back on a van trailer. So they can clean my whole crop in less than a day. It is amazing. And they ship it back to me in those 50-pound bags, and that 50-pound bag will then go to a kettle corn company, or we will take the 50-pound bag, rip it open, and break it down into the 2-pound bags.
That's a lot more sophisticated than the box fan that our family sets up as we pour it from one 5-gallon bucket to the other 5-gallon bucket.
Right. That's, hey, the first couple, probably the first 12 dozen mason jars I sold, I cleaned like that.
Yeah.
Because it came right out of the field, but I didn't have the chance to send it to the grain cleaner yet, but I had people begging for it. So I just poured 5-gallon buckets back and forth all day.
Yep.
So where is this?
We
place?
also
I mean,
have
it's obviously a
we
special
also have
place.
optical eye sensors too.
With yours.
It's
'Cause
my
you got
sister's.
4 eyes.
Yeah, it's my sister's watching for
Oh.
flecks of stuff
I
in there
gotcha.
too.
Yeah, so the cleaning facility is in Kansas, Belleville, Kansas,
Okay.
Polanski Seed Company, and they clean a couple other popcorn producers' grain. That's how I got hooked up with them, was by networking with another popcorn producer. I don't know if they're in southern Nebraska or northern
So you
Kansas.
got quite a bit wrapped up into just trucking out there,
Right,
and then
yeah.
bagging and cleaning and all that. Yeah,
But it's still, it's a load off my plate because I know it's handled. I know it's when it comes back to me, I don't have to worry about there being a grasshopper or anything
Stink
that might
bug.
end up. I don't have to worry about that. I know it's clean and it's ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's one less thing I have to worry about. So it's kind of mentally, I'm paying for the premium of peace of mind of knowing it's
Yep.
clean.
Right.
is popcorn dried to 15%?
It pops better drier than that.
Okay.
13, 14%. If you get much over that, it'll split open but not explode. And if you get much drier than that, it won't do anything. It just
So that's when we get the old grannies.
Yeah, the old maids.
Old maid. That's what it is. Yeah, the old
The
maids.
old Granny Smith
Yeah,
apples.
that's what
Yeah,
I wanted
where
to
you
say. The old maids.
Yes.
Yep.
I feel like we get a lot of those anymore in the commercial.
It's funny
Popcorn.
though, the difference, like you said, you didn't want to sell old crop to your clients, because I can tell the difference to when I get a jar of our old crop versus the new
Yep.
crop. It doesn't pop as well.
Yeah, so there's not that many options when it comes to different hybrids with popcorn. It's just there's not money in it like there is with regular corn. There's not been as much money put into the research. So I can't say that my popcorn's any better than the next guy's. If people think it tastes better, it's probably because it's fresher. And I refuse to sell something that's, I think, not of quality, because my name goes on the side of every bag. I'm not going to sell it to somebody just to get rid of it. I want it to be top quality because I want them to come back for more.
Yeah. Now I want to know about the newest, at least I think it's new, your microwave popcorn adventure, because we tried as a kid to sell it still on the ear, because there was a fad there for a while that if you put the ear in the microwave and you popped it on the ear, you could get the same effect. And it never worked out quite well. It was more of like a gag.
I sell thousands of ears every year, especially around Christmas. That is actually one of my first products, was on the ear. We took that ear and put it in a vacuum seal bag.
Yeah.
And I would sell them. I sold the crap out of them. And I had to, because the popcorn fell over and there was some of it we couldn't get picked up with the combine head. So we went out there and picked them on the cob.
So most of your popcorn is combined.
Yes. Oh, probably 95% of it.
Yeah, we pick ours by hand.
Yeah. You want to hear a funny story about picking it on the cob? So that first year, we had an awful windstorm blow over. Leading up to this windstorm, after church on Sunday, I would go out. That's like the social media thing all started with this popcorn thing. Every Sunday after church, I would go take a video and update people on the popcorn crap, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was telling them about it. Awful windstorm came through. News crew came out, did a news story on this popcorn that fell over. So then more people became interested in the popcorn. I was trying to figure out how to get this popcorn picked up. I got all the FFA kids, because I've got a younger brother, so I've got connections still with the high school.
There you go.
I told my younger brother, I said, I'll give you $10 an hour, and for every kid you get out here, I'll give you an extra $1 an hour. So he was out there making $20 an hour.
Right.
All his buddies were making $10 an hour, and I was sitting there watching them pick popcorn for me.
Nice.
And we picked thousands of ears and started vacuum sealing them and selling them like that. And still around Christmas, it's a really good stocking stuffer, and we sell a lot of them.
But now you have the microwavable popcorn
Yes.
option.
Yep.
Explain to the listeners how that is different for you than selling it as bulk.
Yep. So people want the convenience of the microwave bag and have been asking for it for years, and I could not figure out how to make it happen, because the machine to do it, I mean, you're looking at a minimum probably $400,000 to get set up to make microwave bags. But there's this young couple in Iowa, Farmer's Best. If you like white popcorn, really go check them out. They've got a great product. They have a microwave packaging line, and they custom made 1,200 bags with the Spore Farms and the FBN label, and then they custom made another 1,200 bags with just the Spore Farms label. So I've got those 1,200 bags for sale here around Christmas time as we're recording this.
Yep.
And if they sell good, then we'll continue to hopefully do more. And who knows what the future I mean, I would like to have my own microwave packaging line,
Sure.
but that will be many, many years down the road because that is a huge investment. So I'm
It
really
looked impressive.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it is cool. It's neat. So I'm really excited to hopefully get to keep working with them and having them make a pallet or two at a time, and I either go pick it up or they ship it down to me.
What's the secret to making bag popcorn?
Like the microwave bag popcorn?
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, when you put it in a jar, it's just you deal with it
Yeah.
with your own butter. You got to add all that other stuff.
Yeah, so the microwave bag, I mean, it's robotically bagged. They drop so many ounces of kernels, and then they've got it's like a secret sauce. You know, whatever their butter mixture is. They're the only people on the market with that specific butter recipe because when they bought the company, you know, they bought the recipe.
Right.
So much of that gets squirted in the bag and then heat sealed, folded over, and cellophane wrapped.
Yeah.
It's more of a microwave bag's a convenience thing. It's the same kernels. There's really nothing different, but most people don't want to dirty up the pan and pour the oil. You know, there's
I just can't believe that I watched it squirt the butter in there.
Yeah.
That's adequate enough. That's
Yeah,
adequate
just-
enough for the whole bag.
yeah, just squirted the butter in, and it's really neat. They said they have to that butter's heated and constantly stirred, otherwise it will salt out.
Uh-huh.
So it's warm as
Lot
it
of
gets
salt.
squirted in. Yeah, it's salt and butter. I mean everything. It's ready to go.
Right.
And
But it's all
good.
shelf stable and all that. Like, it
Yep.
don't need to be cooled or not. Okay.
Yep. Well, I mean, it gets cooled down. It goes down a conveyor belt and ends up on this, like, I don't know the word, lazy Susan, whatever they call those things,
Yeah.
with a fan blowing on it. But that's not to make it more shelf stable. That's just to cool that butter mixture down because it will bleed through the bag if it stays hot too long.
Right. I saw that and I wondered what was going on with that fan.
Yep. So that fan is just cooling that butter down because it's so warm when it goes in the bag.
It's amazing. You know, we have one of those stovetop ones you turn and pop. How much, like, a little bit of seed will pop
Oh,
into
yeah.
it. It's just, it's a grower, not a shower.
You can tell how. Jesus. I was gonna say you can tell how many drinks I've had because I cannot remember the name. Oh, Stir Crazy.
Stir Crazy?
Yeah.
Whirly Pop? Yeah.
Yeah. I grew up with Stir Crazy.
Who's the one that we have here there in Ankeny? It's popcorn. God, they have a.
Well, Jolly Time was in Shaler, up where I grew up, for a long time. I don't know what you're talking about.
They have a store in Ankeny.
Oh, do they really?
I can't remember.
Are you about out of popcorn? Do we need to take a little break here to transition topics? Or you got more popcorn questions?
Keep going.
Keep going?
You keep going. I'll figure this out.
Okay. Well, let's take a little break here. I want to get Grace involved because she's been sitting here all politely letting Gavin have his time in the limelight. He wasn't so quiet during Grace's show.
No, he wasn't so nice to me.
Lot of pop.
I poked a lot of fun. Lot of pop?
A lot of pop.
I don't know anything about lot of pop.
Brandmeyer Popcorn Company.
I don't know. I think you made that one up.
No, it's right there. You've seen that before. It's right by that bar and tattoo parlor.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that one place. Let's play a little Would You Rather,
Oh God.
and you both get to answer.
Okay.
Okay. Would you rather live in the same place for the rest of your life or have to move to a new country every month for
Same
the next
place.
5 years?
Same place.
Not going to travel?
No.
Well, I mean, could I go on a vacation or am I stuck in
Got to
my
move.
hometown?
You got to move every month for the next 5 years.
Nah.
60 different
No,
countries.
but like if I pick to live in the same place, can I still go on vacations?
Nope.
You're stuck there forever?
Same place the rest of your life or for the next 5 years, move every month. 60 different
I
countries.
mean, what's the parameters though? Like, you can't go
I
5
just said
miles. you
5
can't-
years.
Can I go to Kentucky?
Yeah.
Can I go visit my girlfriend?
I guess that would be acceptable, maybe. We could let that happen. Okay.
Yeah, I'm content with that because it's still traveling.
Next, would you rather? This is probably a better one. Would you rather have 10 kids or no kids at all?
10.
10 all day long. I want a huge family.
Oh boy.
They clearly don't have any kids.
Oh
You're
God.
right.
No.
Or- yeah, that we know of. I know. I'm pretty sure I don't.
Whoa, here we go.
I think Grace would know, and I would too.
She got sense of smell, but she didn't realize until you lost your sense of smell what things you miss smelling. Yeah.
that's true.
I stink. The dog stinks. That's the biggest benefit she has is I swear dog farts are worse than human farts. So
They are.
if our
smell
dog's
of
laying there,
corn, the smell of corn drying, fresh turned dirt.
anything, a candle, like I could.
Popcorn.
Popcorn.
I used to be able to get her
yeah.
candles as presents, and that would be her thing. She loves the house smelling like a candle. Well, she can't smell it anymore. So I mean, I don't know. Sense of smell to me.
My mom still, she hasn't lost her taste, but it's way different. Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't like olives anymore. She loved
Yeah.
olives or something, something
That's
stupid
how
like
mine
that.
was.
Yeah.
Everything that I really loved started to taste really disgusting.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Last would you rather? Would you rather have Grace go through your phone or your parents?
My dad doesn't know how to use the internet.
Oh.
And I'm fine with Grace or mom going through my phone.
I was going to say, he was just in her DMs going through
That's right. Going through.
It's a pretty trusting relationship there.
Either one of them. Neither of those bother me.
That's pretty good. All right, as we jump back into talking about you and what you're doing on your farm, I do want to make it known that he publicly on July 29th of 2022 went out and said that Iowa has far better corn than Nebraska.
Oh, he did.
Yep. Way better than Missouri.
Do you remember this?
It was a tweet that you put out. The tweet might have actually said that he would rather have a full section of black Iowa dirt
Oh.
than anywhere else.
Are you going to come that far north? You get up to Iowa?
But the only reason you'd want that black Iowa dirt is because it raises far better
Right.
corn than.
I wish I could have the black Iowa dirt with Missouri's heat units. You could have 1,000 bushel corn with that.
Oh, he might not be far off. That's what we're learning here at FBN. We just need to take the Iowa dirt,
Shove it south.
truck it down.
We could do that.
Just have a train
I don't
of
know.
scrapers.
I
Could you
mean-
imagine a train of scrapers from us to Columbia?
What was that?
What was that? Are you going to edit that out, Tanner?
little AMSR?
ASMR?
ATM?
What's AMSR? That'd be another good one. Let's look that one up.
One of my
Oh,
Probably
God.
shouldn't look that up.
one of my buddy's dads went on a trip to Iowa one time, and he got like a bag of dirt from Iowa and brought it home, and he threw it out in his field, and he's like, "Go, make more, be free, reproduce."
Wouldn't it be interesting though to try and whether it's a couple truckloads or whichever it is and replicate the soil structure that Iowa has?
Yeah, bring
and
it in and
just like dig out a 10 by 10
Yeah.
area and just monitor what that does differently in your farm.
someone bring me a dump trucklood of dirt. We'll
You
make it
need
happen.
5 foot of black dirt. That'd be
Right.
I'll trade you
tons
5 foot of
tons
Missouri
tons.
clay.
10 by 10. I'm talking like to do a test, but yes, otherwise you'd have to have a long line of scrapers. Just scrape it up here, start heading down the interstate, drop it off on his field.
That would be
I'll take it.
quite
Just
the
a big-
project.
A big loop.
You know what an acre furrow slice weighs? What is that, 4 inches of soil? Or 2 inches of soil? I don't even know.
Yikes. You going to look that up?
I'll have to look it up.
All right. Well, the last piece I wanted to hit on is we don't get to cover or talk about it quite a bit. I think the last time it was even brought up in discussion was when we had Farm Fit Mama on.
Mhm.
You look different now than you used to look.
Mhm.
And that's a lot due to discipline. What's the key to slim, Gavin?
Yeah, so coming out of college, I mean, I was skinny in high school, but everyone's skinny in high school. Went to college, a lot of sitting around. I gained a bunch of weight. When I graduated college, I was 175, and this spring I touched 280. I mean, I was pretty big, and a year ago I cut alcohol out. I started drinking a lot. I completely cut alcohol out, and then this spring changed my diet. I did the 75 hard, which is like a personal challenge. It's more than just exercise. It's reading and drinking so much water a day, and just a test of how far are you willing to push yourself, because no one's going to do it for you. And I think I've lost right at 50 pounds now, a little over 50 pounds. I went from 280 down to 230. I cut out smoking because I was smoking like a pack of cigarettes a day, a habit I developed in high school because you go riding around with your buddies and you drink some beer and you smoke
Yeah,
cigarettes.
sure.
That's all you do when you're in a rural area.
A drunk cigarette. Once in a while, it just hits the spot.
So I cut all that out. And it's really improved my life to have cut the drinking out and started exercising, put a home gym in, because I don't have the kids or a wife yet. I've got a bachelor pad. I live with a buddy, and we don't need a dining room. We want a gym. So bought some used equipment off of Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, and my dumbbell set. All my dumbbells came from a girl who just got divorced from her husband. So to spite him,
Yes.
she sold all his workout equipment cheap. I was like, hey, I mean, I
Does he
need
have
that.
any farming equipment?
Do you have any hunting land? Do you have any farm ground?
I guess similar to how I picked up ground. You get creative. You go instead of getting a gym membership, I built my own home gym and found equipment cheap.
Right.
But yeah, that working on myself has done wonders for myself and my business. It all rolls up together. But I feel so much better now than I did in January.
Yeah. Have you seen that guy on TikTok that he's always shooting baskets with like a fruit basket hoop, and he's dribbling on grass, but he's made all of his weights out of like pouring concrete blocks around a 2x4, and that's one of his dumbbells, and he's made wooden apparatuses of his home gym, and I'm gonna have to find that while we
as part of the 75 hard. It's 2 daily workouts, 2 45-minute workouts or whatever.
Yeah,
one of them has to be outside.
Yeah.
So I learned to love running in the rain, and that sucks at first. But then it's like, man, like this feels pretty good.
It's one of my favorite times to go running.
Yeah,
is at night and in the rain.
Well, that sounds like a recipe to get hit if you're running along the edge of the road. But
Well, see, I live in town, so I got a lot of sidewalks.
true,
I don't have to
true.
worry about that as much.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I also had a bunch of used tractor tires. I put new tires on the tractor because God knows I get tons of flat tires. And so I just would flip one of the big tires around my driveway. And so that was part of my outside workout. Doing push-ups on the concrete pad in front of my warehouse, things like that. So you don't even need weights to get in better shape.
So are you going to do the Farmer Olympics here?
That's the plan. I might not win, but I'm planning to do it.
Nice.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow. Or I guess by the time this airs, we'll know if I won or not.
Right, that's
A couple weeks ago.
We'll post it in the show notes. Man, I'm not.
I feel like we should do that. It also sounds like a blown hammy.
Yeah, we could.
An acre furrow slice, by the way, coming back in 6 inches
Okay.
of soil, 2,024,458 pounds
Yikes.
It's a lot.
of 1 acre.
How much does a
6
pound of
inches.
dirt weigh?
A pound.
A pound.
16 ounces.
It's funny. I was sitting there going, there's no way he just asked that. It's like you can't slide
What's the
that
pound of
past the
popcorn?
king of dad jokes, and there's no.
How many kernels is a pound of popcorn?
I had that figured out at one point because
Yeah?
I weighed like so many and extrapolated it out to a pound.
How many pounds in a bushel? Is it 56? Like,
No, so it's like 68. So
Oh, wow.
if you
Yeah,
take
small
a
kernel,
yeah,
yeah.
they're so dense. If you take a hopper bottom full of, and if it weighs 100,000 pounds full of corn, if you load that thing front to back, tarp boat to tarp boat with popcorn, you're liable to split the thing in half. I mean, there's a lot of weight on that bad boy.
well, hopefully you didn't learn the hard way there.
No,
Somebody did.
Yeah, somebody
Somebody
somewhere
one time.
did. Yeah.
Jeepers. Well, I did.
68, man.
I did put down here on the piece of paper because the question about, would you rather lose your sight, lose your hearing, or lose your smell? That do you think when people yawn in front of a deaf person
They think they're screaming.
that they think we're screaming?
Man, I don't know.
I thought I could put that in here because we won't offend deaf people, and then I forgot that we actually are on YouTube now, and they probably do watch us, and they're reading the subtitles right now, and are like, "Crap."
I mean, I don't know why it would offend them. It's a legit question.
Yeah.
Put that on the list of things I've
Okay.
never thought about.
If you're watching on YouTube and you just so happen to be deaf, let us know.
Yes.
Don't
I've
make
been-
me. Don't make
It's
me.
like how many people just yawned? Yeah. Uh-huh. That's pretty good. The other one that I had on here for the last recording that we didn't use yet is if two vegans are arguing, is it still called a beef?
I guess it depends on what's at stake.
It's a veggie burger.
You would make a good dad. You would make a good dad. I'm really mad I cannot find this guy on TikTok. And when you Google redhead on TikTok with home gym.
Oh, jeez.
It's not the results that you would expect. What you got? You should probably ask the next question.
Did we miss anything? I mean, I feel like it's been 52 minutes, but I feel like it's been short.
I know it's the best. The best way these episodes come about is when it doesn't feel like you went into any of it at all.
Okay, I have a couple of randoms. Okay, the state ground, the DNR ground you talked about, or was it DNR ground? Is that what you?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It belongs to the state of Missouri, and the conservation department manages.
So
it.
do you have to leave like a certain percentage for the wildlife and all that kind of stuff, and do hay on certain parts of it? Like that's how it is in Iowa.
Yeah. Good question. So I farm 2 different state tracts. Reform, which is at the nuclear plant. They manage that, and I farm a portion of that, and then Whetstone, which is it's like 6,000 acre farm, and 400 of it's tillable. So I have to leave a certain percentage of corn on each place, and then I also This is interesting. So here's something for young guys who might want to get going. Look for state ground, because on my specific tracts, I get to work off my rent check by doing work on those conservation areas. So instead of coming up with a pile of cash and giving it to them, and they have to take that check and send it to the capital, that conservation area will never benefit from that rent check because the money goes to the capital and disappears. But since I do this is how I was able to afford a skid loader. I do skid loader work, and I bid the skid loader job. So, I do my skid loader work for $75 an hour. That $75 an hour that skid loader runs comes off the rent check. So they benefit from the work done on the property. I can afford to have a skid loader, and the rest of the year I get to use it for whatever I want, and we all benefit from it. So that's a really good gig for young guys wanting to get going. And usually the rent's cheaper because it's small patches, more rules. The big guys don't want to mess with it. So that's where I've been able to grow quicker than I guess most young guys are able to grow, because I was able to latch onto a couple state tracks.
Nice. We have that around us. I've looked into it a couple times. We have to do a bunch of hay, and then they only let you cut once a year or something crazy, and it gets you start running the math, and like the rent at the beginning sounded really nice, and then at the end it was like it's actually more than what I'm paying elsewhere.
I knew I was in trouble with that ground when there was 400 acres up for bid, and I was the only guy who showed up to bid on it. I was like, these guys know something I don't.
You're like,
but if you can go in
my
there,
bid's going to be cut in half.
Right.
But if you can go in there and improve it, you know what needs improved, or whatever, and then you're working it off.
Yep.
Might as well. What are you finding?
But it's 700 acres and that's 106 or 109 fields. So there's a ton of patches.
Say that again?
700 acres of my ground is state ground. It's 106 or 109 fields. So my 16-row planter, I had it added up, but it was like between 40, 50, 60 times I had to fold up and unfold to get to all these patches.
You have row shutoffs.
I have row shutoffs. Shout out to Ag Leader. Ag Leader's
You almost
awesome.
have to have row shutoffs. I mean, that probably paid for itself in half a season.
Yeah, so the first year I farmed that state ground, I had a 6-row planter, and I didn't have row shutoffs. But then I went to the 12-row, had Ag Leader shutoffs. Now I've got the 16-row, Ag Leader shutoffs. Amazing technology. It paid for the freaking shutoffs.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So,
especially in that amount of fields. Holy cow.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And I did see a couple of your tweets that went out with the number of point rows that you have.
Oh, my goodness.
Like, there's no way for you to really set an A-B line in a couple of your fields.
There's really not. And that's why I hate combining corn. All farmers, they just talk about getting in a combine and shelling corn, and that's the best job on the farm. I despise it because I am opening up so many small fields, and I have short rows I can't unload on the go. I dread combining corn. I hate that job.
Yeah, you're better off with beans. You just pull in.
I love beans. Yeah, I just pull in, make a circle, go whatever direction I want.
Right. Who'd have
You
thought
can't
that?
pop beans into popcorn, so.
Wouldn't that be the next thing?
Pop beans.
Pop beans.
Hey, there's pop Milo. You can pop Milo.
What?
Sorghum.
Really?
Yep. Sorghum explodes just like popcorn.
I didn't know that.
We're going to have to try this. Someone's going to send us some sorghum.
Would that benefit anyone, health-wise, that they couldn't know? Because corn's not gluten, like wheat.
Which, isn't that another one of these little riddles? You can get gluten from corn.
But
Because
people
you
that
feed corn gluten to cattle.
Mm-hmm.
But
people that are gluten intolerant
can eat
corn or drink corn beer or whatever.
Right.
But they can't have beer with wheat in it.
Right. Nice.
Never thought about that.
Well, what we didn't do very well on Grace's episode, so now she's going to get the opportunity to pitch this. I'm sure everybody knows how to find her anyway.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we didn't pitch, so we'll take this little audio clip out of here, and she'll get to promote herself twice. So this, guys, has been a pleasure. Hanging out, killing an entire evening with us. We thank you so much for being a part of it. So if people want to find you before we ask the payoff question, we'll start with Grace. How do people find you on social media?
Can I ask you a question before I answer that one?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Say sorghum.
Sorghum?
Sorghum?
Sorghum.
How did I say it the first time?
Like you just said it.
Oh.
I don't say it like that.
You don't. How do you say it?
Sorghum.
Sorghum?
Sorghum.
Say milk. How do you guys say milk?
Milk?
Milk.
Milk.
Okay, they say it right.
Milk. She thinks I say it with an E, same as eggs.
It does
Yeah.
sound like you say it with an E.
He
Milk.
does.
A little
How,
bit.
how do you say like you wash a combine? Like you
Wash.
wash?
Well, so I grew up, my grandma, everything was we washed
Ain't
the
no
dishes.
Tony Reed washing that stuff here.
Power wash a combine at the end of the year.
Yeah.
You wash a
Yeah.
load of
You wash
laundry.
Not an R in there.
I do have an R in mine.
Okay.
There for a second I was sitting there going, I thought I said sorghum wrong.
You did say it wrong. It's sorghum.
So I thought
Anyway.
I thought when you got so far south it was just Milo.
It's Milo.
No, we call it sorghum.
Sorghum.
I'm pretty sure Hancock County, which is my county, is the sorghum capital of the world.
Really?
That's funny.
And you don't grow it.
No. That's probably a lie.
What?
That's probably a lie.
A law.
A law.
Not a law. Not a law. A law. So
Okay.
is it a crick? Is it a crick or a creek?
I say creek.
Creek?
Yeah.
I say why if I ask, why would you do that? I started hanging out with her so much. I ended up having a conversation with some buddies one night, and they said something. I said, why? And they looked at me like, you're spending way too much time in Kentucky.
Why?
Why?
That's a segment we didn't even think we could have done.
That's good.
That's a pretty good one. We'll have to do that when we catch up for part 2. All right, Grace. How can people
All right,
find
all right.
you on social media?
Let me try and remember everything. Instagram. Oh, hold on. I gotta get it all
It's
organized
not the
in my
same.
brain.
You're not just the farmer Grace?
No, there's some that are different.
Uh-oh. Did someone steal
Okay,
your
whatever.
username?
You can find me as The Farmer Grace on all platforms. Every single platform. I'm on all of them.
Okay.
The Farmer Grace.
The Farmer Grace.
And you, Gavin, how do people find you?
I am Gavin Spoor or Gavin_Spore on everything except TikTok. On TikTok, I am the popcorn farmer.
Got it. Perfect. Well, here is the new question
Maybe.
for
We didn't vote on
2023.
this.
We haven't voted on it yet, but
Oh.
we'll see if it works. Were you fine with that one I pointed at?
I don't care. It's your deal.
How do you define success? So think about that. How do you define success? Listeners, thanks again for hanging out with us. farmforprofitllc@gmail.com. It's not very easy for them to type how they pronounce words. So you're going to have to leave us a voicemail at 515-207-9640. So that way we can get from you the wrong way to pronounce some of these words we just discussed. And if you've got a guest or you yourself want to be on, make sure you let us know. And head over to YouTube. We've hopefully by now hit our goal, but if not, you can get us there by hitting subscribe. How do you define success?
That is a solid question.
How would I define success?
How would you define success?
Happiness.
Okay.
That's it. That's the answer.
You know
long as you're happy.
You know you've made it when you're happy.
Mhm.
Or you could be making it and just be happy.
So it might not just be like a certain point in time. It's just continually stay happy.
Well, kind of like our presenter today at FBN. I felt bad for the guy. At the end of his presentation, they asked what's next. And he kind of made it seem like he made it. Like that free solo mission on El Cap, that was his thing. And he did it
Like he peaked.
midlife. Right.
Yeah.
It's like, what's his definition of success?
It'll be tough for him to find something next, I guess. I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. As long as I'm happy, I feel like I'm successful.
successful.
Because if I'm happy, that means most things are going my way.
Gavin?
I want to answer it two ways because I think
Do
there's
it.
two good answers. So, I think success is having a huge visitation and funeral. If you've got just a pile of people showing up, you did something right because not only did they care about you when you were alive, they showed up afterwards to show their family how much they cared about you.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's when it's all said and done, leaving something in better shape than you found it while also getting what you needed from it. So I'll use farmland as an example. If you're a successful farmer, not only were you able to profit from that ground and make a living, you didn't destroy it in the process. You left it in better shape for the next person. So I don't go into anything with I'm the only one who gets to benefit sort of mindset. So with my social media, like, yes, I do have followers, and yes, I benefit from the sale of my popcorn, but I want to make it more than that. I want other people who want to start farming, I want them to get some value from it. I don't want to be the only one extracting value from the situation. I want to bring them some value.
Right.
So if they're looking for inspiration or ideas on how to be successful, I'm more than willing to give you my roadmap of how I did it. It might not work for you, but I want to tell you how I did it, and whatever piece of that puzzle you want to take and make part of your own, grab it and run with it.
Great.
That's good.
I also think if you guys have nice farm and 8 kids running around, 10 kids running around, I bet you'd be pretty happy, and yeah, that'd be pretty successful.
I didn't want to interrupt your second answer because there could also be a lot of people at your funeral if you have a lot of farm ground.
That
Yeah.
is true.
John at Stapler Farms is probably going to roll up along with all the other neighbors.
I haven't done one of those for a while. I
No,
need to-
you should.
Yeah.
Well, no, thank you again. This has been a pleasure spending your whole evening with us, drinking some beer, some tea, and having a good time. What do you say, Corey?
Say, crack a bush light. You deserve it.